This one cold morning habit is quietly destroying your engine and costing you thousands, and you're probably doing it right now. What you do in the next 60 seconds after starting your car could be the difference between a $200 oil change and a $4,000 repair bill. Whether you're driving a Honda CR-V, Ford F-150, or that old BMW in your garage, these 5 mistakes are killing engines every single winter. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to protect your car and keep way more money in your wallet. So let's jump into mistake number 1, because this myth has been around for decades and it's completely wrong. Keep watching for my bonus tip, the just let it idle myth. Alright, here's the thing. You've been told your whole life that you need to let your car idle for 10, maybe 15 minutes on a cold morning before you drive it. Your dad probably told you this, your uncle definitely told you this, and honestly they weren't wrong back in 1985. But if you're doing this with your modern car, you're actually making things worse. Way worse. When you let your Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V just sit there idling in the driveway, the engine is barely doing any work. There's no load on it. And because there's no load, it warms up incredibly slowly. We're talking snail pace slow. Here's what's really happening under the hood while you're sitting there waiting. Your engine is cold, right? So the fuel doesn't burn completely. Instead of turning into power, some of that fuel just kind of hangs around and creates this nasty carbon buildup. This carbon sticks to your cylinder walls, your intake valves, your fuel injectors, all the important stuff that keeps your engine running smooth. Over time, this buildup is like plaque in your arteries. It chokes your engine. You lose efficiency, you lose power, and eventually you're looking at a carbon cleaning service that'll run you $400 to $800. Now, here's what modern engines actually need. 30 to 60 seconds. That's it. Just enough time for the oil to start circulating. Then you drive gently until the temperature gauge starts moving. The RAV4's 2.5-liter engine? It's designed to warm up faster when you're actually driving it, not sitting there burning fuel for no reason. My colleague Mark actually tested this. He idled his CR-V for 15 minutes every morning for a month. Then he switched to the 30-second method. He saved over $40 in gas in just 1 month. Multiply that over a whole winter and you're looking at $300 to $500 a year just wasted on idling. But the real kicker? All that idling also means you might need that carbon cleaning way sooner than you should. So you're paying twice, once in wasted gas and again, and the mechanic hands you an $800 bill. This applies to everything. Your Chevy Silverado, your Tesla Model Y, even that old BMW E46 sitting in your garage that you baby like it's made of gold. So here's what you do instead. Start your car, count to 30. Maybe adjust your mirrors, put on your seatbelt, whatever. Then drive gently. Keep it under 25 miles per hour for the first few blocks. Don't floor it, just nice and easy until your temperature gauge shows the engine's warmed up. Your neighbors might give you weird looks when you pull out after 30 seconds. Let them. Your wallet's going to be a lot happier than theirs. The aggressive cold start acceleration. Okay, mistake number 2. And honestly, this one's probably costing you more money than anything else on this list. You're late for work. You jump in the car, fire it up, and immediately slam on the gas to get going. Sound familiar? Yeah, we've all done it. But if you're doing this regularly in cold weather, you're basically cutting your engine's lifespan in half. Here's why. When your engine is cold, your oil is thick. Like really thick. Think honey straight out of the fridge. It flows slowly and it hasn't reached all the critical parts yet that need lubrication. Now, let's talk about the Ford F-150 with the EcoBoost engine. America's best-selling truck, right? Tons of you are driving these. That turbo in there spins at over 150,000 RPM. To put that in perspective, that's faster than a jet engine, and it needs a constant oil flow to survive. When you hit the gas hard before that oil's flowing properly, the turbo bearings are basically running metal on metal for those first few seconds. And metal on metal contact? That's how you destroy bearings. Same exact problem with the Chevy Equinox and its 1.5-liter turbo, or the Honda CR-V with the 1.5T. These are some of the most popular SUVs in America, and people are killing their turbos every single day with aggressive cold starts. But even if you don't have a turbo, you're not off the hook. Take a Honda Civic with a naturally aspirated engine. No turbo, right? Still, when it's cold, those piston rings need time to expand and seal properly against the cylinder walls. If you rev high before they're ready, you get what's called blow-by. That's when combustion gases sneak past the rings and contaminate your oil. Do this enough times, and those rings wear down. You lose compression, your engine starts burning oil, and suddenly you're looking at a $3,500 to $6,000 engine rebuild. My uncle actually learned this the hard way. Had a Nissan Rogue with the turbo engine. Every morning he'd fire it up and immediately get on the highway, flooring it to merge. Thought he was saving time. 2 years later, the turbo failed. $2,300 to replace it. And the mechanic told him straight up, it was because he never let it warm up properly. A turbo replacement on an F-150? $2,000 to $4,000. On a CR-V? $2,000 to $3,500. On an Equinox, about the same. All because you were in a hurry. So here's the fix, and it's dead simple. For the first 5 to 10 minutes of driving, keep your RPMs under 3,000. You don't need a tachometer to know this, just drive like there's an egg under your gas pedal. Gentle acceleration. No hard pulls. No racing to beat the yellow light. Think of it like stretching before a workout. Your engine needs to limber up before you ask it to perform. Trust me, those extra few minutes of gentle driving can literally add years to your engine's life and save you thousands in repairs. Ignoring your battery's cold weather warning signs. Alright, number 3. And this one's sneaky because most people don't even realize their battery's dying until it's too late. Cold weather is absolutely brutal on car batteries. Here's the science real quick. When temperatures drop below freezing, your battery loses about 60% of its strength. 60%. But at the same time, your engine needs twice as much power to start because everything's cold and thick. So, you've got a battery working at 40% capacity, trying to do 200% of the work. Do the math, that's not going to end well. Now here's what happens when your battery starts going weak. Let's say you're driving a Toyota Camry or a Hyundai Tucson, both incredibly popular cars. When you turn the key and the battery's struggling, the starter motor has to work way harder to crank the engine. That starter, it's not designed to work that hard. It's designed for quick, powerful bursts when everything's healthy. When it has to grind and grind because the battery's weak, it wears out fast. And replacing a starter costs $300 to $600 depending on your car. But it gets worse. When the battery's putting out low voltage, your fuel pump and ignition system aren't getting the power they need either. This creates rough, uneven starts. And those rough starts, they damage your catalytic converter over time. The Camry's the best-selling sedan in America. I see this mistake all the time with them. People ignore the warning signs until they're stranded in a parking lot. So what are those warning signs? Pay attention to these. Your engine cranks slower than usual, even if it eventually starts. That's your first clue. Your headlights dim when you turn the key. That's number 2. The car takes 2 or 3 seconds longer to fire up than it did last summer, and you might hear a clicking sound before the engine catches. Any of those sound familiar? Your battery's on its way out. Here's the thing. A new battery for a Tucson costs $150 to $250. You can install it yourself in 15 minutes with a wrench, but if you ignore it, that starter replacement is $800 to $1,200. Plus, you might be stuck in a Walmart parking lot on the coldest day of the year waiting for a tow truck. My neighbor actually had this happen with his Subaru Forester. Battery was 4.5 years old. He noticed it cranking slower but kept putting off replacing it. Then one morning, dead. Completely dead. Had to get it towed, miss work, and ended up paying for a new battery plus the tow. Cost him way more than if he'd just replaced it proactively. Here's what you do. Every fall before winter hits, get your battery tested. Most auto parts stores will do it for free. Takes 5 minutes. If your battery's more than 4 years old, just replace it. Don't wait for it to die. And keep jumper cables in your trunk. Even if your battery's good, you might help someone else out. Or they might help you. This is such an easy fix, but people skip it all the time. Don't be that person. The short trip engine killer. Okay, number 4. This one's probably affecting way more of you than you realize. You start your car, drive 5 minutes to drop the kids at school. Come back. Later, drive 5 minutes to the grocery store. Come back. 5 minutes to the gym. You get the idea. You're making a bunch of short trips and your engine never fully warms up. In cold weather, this is absolutely killing your engine. Slowly, quietly, but it's happening. Here's the deal. When your engine runs, combustion creates moisture and acidic byproducts. That's just how engines work. Normally, these contaminants mix with your oil, but they get burned off and evaporated once the engine reaches full operating temperature. In cold weather, your Honda Accord or Nissan Sentra needs 15 to 20 minutes of driving to get fully hot. Not just warm, hot. The Sentra is having this huge sales comeback right now. Great little car, but a lot of new owners are accidentally destroying them with short trips. If you're only driving 5 to 10 minutes at a time, here's what happens. That moisture accumulates in your oil. It can't evaporate because the engine never gets hot enough. Over time, this moisture turns your oil into this milky, coffee-colored sludge. And this sludge, it doesn't protect anything. Your bearings, your camshafts, all the moving parts, they're not getting proper lubrication. Meanwhile, the acid that's also building up starts eating away at metal components. You can actually see this yourself. Next time you change your oil, or just pop open your oil cap right now, if you see creamy yellowish-brown gunk under the cap, that's the moisture and sludge I'm talking about. You've got a short trip problem. In extreme cases, you get full-blown engine sludge that blocks oil passages completely. When that happens, parts start starving for oil, and then you get catastrophic engine failure. We're talking $5,000 to $10,000 to fix. But there's another problem too, your catalytic converter. That thing needs to get hot to do its job of cleaning emissions. Really hot. If you're only making short trips, it never reaches that temperature. A cold catalytic converter doesn't just fail emissions tests, it can fail completely. And replacing one costs $1,000 to $2,500 depending on your car. The Chevy Trax is one of the cheapest new cars you can buy right now. It's selling like crazy. But even expensive cars aren't immune. That Audi A4 or BMW E46 you're babying in the garage? Same exact problem if you're only driving it 5 minutes at a time. My cousin Sarah learned this the hard way with her Accord. She worked from home, only drove to do errands, all short trips. Started noticing the car running rough. Took it to the mechanic and there was sludge everywhere. Cost her $4,200 for a partial engine rebuild, all because she never took long drives. So here's the fix. Whenever possible, combine your errands into one longer trip instead of multiple short ones. Plan your route so you're not constantly starting and stopping. If your life just requires short trips, maybe you work close to home, kids' school is nearby, then you need to change your oil twice as often as the manual says. If it says every 5,000 miles, do it every 2,500. And here's the big one. Once a week, take a 20 to 30 minute drive. Just get on the highway or some back roads and let everything heat up completely. Let that engine really stretch its legs. Think of it like exercise for your car. It needs to run hot occasionally to stay healthy. This is especially important if you own a turbocharged Audi A4 or any turbo car. Those turbos absolutely hate short trips. Turning off the engine immediately after hard driving. Alright, last one, number 5. And this mistake is super common because most people have no idea they're even doing anything wrong. You just finished a highway drive. Or maybe you were having a little fun, driving spiritedly. You pull into your driveway and immediately turn the key off. Engine stops. You go inside. Seems totally normal, right? But if you have a turbocharged car, you just did some serious damage. Here's what's happening. After hard driving, your turbo is spinning at over 100,000 RPM. And it's hot, like really, really hot. We're talking glowing metal hot. The turbo depends completely on oil flowing through it to carry away all that heat. It's like a radiator, the oil comes in, absorbs the heat, carries it away. But when you shut off the engine immediately, the oil stops flowing. Dead stop. But the turbo's still sitting there, scorching hot, with no oil moving through it. What happens? The oil that's trapped inside the turbo literally cooks. It breaks down, turns into sludge and carbon deposits, and this cooked oil clogs up the turbo's tiny oil passages. Do this enough times, and those passages get completely blocked. The turbo can't get oil anymore, the bearings wear out, and eventually total turbo failure. Let's talk about which cars this affects. The Ford F-150 with the 2.7 or 3.5 EcoBoost, best-selling vehicle in America, both turbocharged. The Chevy Equinox with the 1.5 turbo, one of the top-selling SUVs. The Honda CR-V 1.5T, third best-selling vehicle in the entire country. The Nissan Rogue, turbocharged. Even the Subaru Forester's turbo models. All of these are at risk if you shut them off immediately after hard driving. The symptoms start small. You might hear a slight whistle or whooshing sound that wasn't there before. Maybe you notice the car doesn't accelerate quite as hard as it used to. Then one day, the turbo just fails completely. On an F-150, that's $1,500 to $3,000 to replace. On a CR-V, $2,000 to $3,500. On an Equinox, about the same. My buddy Jake had a Rogue. Loved driving it hard on the highway. Every single time he'd get home, he'd just shut it off and walk away. Never let it idle. After about 3 years, the turbo failed. Mechanic told him it was cooked oil buildup. Cost him $2,800. Now, if you have a naturally aspirated engine, like the older Camrys, older Civics, no turbo, this isn't as critical. But even those cars benefit from a cool-down period. Suddenly cutting off a hot engine causes thermal shock to all the components. And even electric cars like the Tesla Model Y benefit from letting the cooling systems run for a bit after hard driving. So here's the super simple fix. After highway driving or anytime you've been pushing the car hard, let it idle for 30 to 60 seconds before you turn it off. That's it. 1 minute. This gives the turbo time to slow down while oil is still circulating. It lets all the hot components cool gradually instead of shocking them. This 60-second habit can literally add years to your turbo's life and save you thousands of dollars. Some newer cars actually have turbo timers built in. The engine keeps running for a bit even after you take the key out, but most cars don't have this, so you need to do it manually. Just sit there for a minute. Check your phone, finish that podcast, whatever. Just give it a minute. Bonus tip. All right, before we wrap up, I've got one more bonus tip that's going to save you even more money this winter. You know how everyone says you should warm up your car by letting it idle? Well, here's what almost nobody tells you. Your transmission and differential also need to warm up, not just your engine. When you first start driving on a cold morning, your transmission fluid is thick and sluggish. So for the first mile or two, avoid hard shifts. If you've got a manual transmission, shift gently. If it's an automatic, don't floor it and force it to downshift aggressively. Same thing with your differential if you've got a rear wheel or all-wheel drive vehicle like an F-150 or a Subaru. That gear oil in there is cold and thick too. My uncle's friend actually destroyed his transmission in his Silverado by pulling a heavy trailer immediately after starting it on a freezing morning. Didn't give the transmission any time to warm up. Cost him $3,500 to rebuild it. So here's the move. First mile or two, drive like your grandma's in the passenger seat. Smooth, gentle, no drama. Let everything warm up together. Engine, transmission, differential, all of it. Once you've been driving for about 10 minutes and everything's up to temperature, then you can drive normally. This one simple habit can add years to your transmission's life. And trust me, transmission repairs make engine repairs look cheap. Alright, so there you have it. 5 cold weather mistakes plus that bonus tip that could save you over $15,000 in repairs. Let me break that down for you. Carbon cleaning from excessive idling, $400 to $800. Turbo replacement from aggressive cold starts, $2,000 to $4,000. Engine rebuild from worn piston rings, $3,500 to $6,000. New starter from a dead battery, $800 to $1,200. Catalytic converter replacement from short trips, $1,000 to $2,500. And a transmission rebuild, $3,500. Add all that up and you're looking at over $17,000 in potential repairs. If this video helped you out, smash that like button and subscribe for more money-saving car tips every week. Now drop a comment and tell me, which mistake were you making and what are you driving? I want to know. Thanks for watching, take care of your cars, and I'll see you in the next one.